Greetings one and all to another Dark Rider Pony Analysis. I am the Nightmare Rider, Major Mind, reminding you, as always, that even a cheeseburger can be deconstructed to its original source. It is important for any story to have some kind of conflict to give a purpose to the character's actions and drive the story forward. This can be done as an internal questioning of how the character's values relate to the situation at hand, or it can be a large external threat. MLP is a perfect example of showing both of these types of conflict, as you can have a larger epic fantasy battles like the two-parters like the Crystal Empire, you can have a character-based conflicts like in Pinky Apple Pie, or you can have a bit of both like Three's a Crowd. Leap of Faith is more along the lines of a moral conflict as presented in Pinky Apple Pie. Applejack knows for a fact that the Flim Flam brothers are being dishonest with their potions, but also knows that it is, in fact, making ponies feel better about themselves. So the question becomes, how much will our honesty really benefit others? This episode does quite well to set up this conflict, but doesn't really execute it in a particularly good manner. That's not to say that it didn't work or that it was a bad episode. Although, as the mysterious Mr. Enter said in his Simple Ways review, Josh Haybear is a very safe, by-the-numbers writer, and that seems to be the case with this episode once again. Although even safe episodes do usually have something that is worth praising, and Leap of Faith is no exception. We get good characterization early on, depicting a balanced relationship between each of the Apple family. Apple Bloom, like any child would, is trying to show off by doing tricks in the water before questioning why Granny Smith doesn't want to join them. She also has desires to try daredevil stunts like Granny Smith, but actually accepts it's not a good idea once the danger is clearly explained to her. Conversely, Granny Smith recounts how her daredevil antics during her youth left her with more mental reservations about swimming than physical ones, showing how it caused her current reluctance to try even basic swimming again. However, this passion is not completely faded away, as once the Flim Flam brothers offer her the supposed miracle tonic, she jumps at the chance to rekindle her enthusiasm for performance swimming once again. Big Mac also gets some subtle moments of characterization, pranking Apple Bloom with a fake shark hat, and even agreeing with Applejack on her doubts about the validity of the miracle tonic. He also shows quick thinking in throwing the yoke around his neck as a life float for Granny Smith, assuming she's in danger after her comments about her limbs not being robust enough to coordinate into swimming. The Flim Flam Brothers tonic itself is a decent representation of the placebo effect. The placebo effect is where a medicine is given to a patient with claims of medicinal effects, but having no actual medicinal properties to it at all. Placebos are quite useful in scientific studies, as they are often used in randomized drug trials in a double-blind test to see if the drugs in question are actually effective more than the placebo. When neither the patient nor the delivering doctors know which medicine is real and which is the placebo, it gives the best possible results in showing the effectiveness of the new medicine. However, it is commonly abused by those who push pseudoscience cures, such as homeopathy and faith healing. Flim Flam's show has all the common tropes of this kind of scam. Planted stooges to pretend they are affected, the victims feeling better because how they are expected to be cured, and the scam artists raking in the cash because of it. And herein lies the problem this episode has. It's a bit too basic. It was incredibly predictable that tonic would be a placebo, and everything that happens after is painfully generic. But the biggest reason this is annoying is because it doesn't really do very much to show how the fake tonic could be dangerous in its deception. We literally only see Granny Smith being more active because of it, with nothing to measure how the ponies with more clear physical health benefits will be struggling because of it. It feels like there is little weight to this conflict because we are told about how it could go wrong, with everyone believing Applejack simply because it's Applejack. Think about what would have happened if Granny Smith hadn't been caught by Applejack in time. She could have seriously harmed herself, only to shake it off and be convinced that she just didn't drink enough tonic. She would clearly be in more urgent danger if we had seen more than one risk being taken, but instead the pie dish, which is pretty unclear how it's even supposed to be done successfully without injury to begin with, is all we get. It really doesn't feel like Silver Shield really learned anything either. Since like the crowd, his moral compass is entirely reliant on Applejack being a pillar of honesty in Ponyville. Whatever Applejack says is clearly the right decision. He gets the idea that being honest isn't even the best best policy because of Applejack's initial dishonesty, although instantly reverses the decision yet again because Applejack had a change of heart. It's a real shame too, since Applejack's resolution is something that I can really get behind. Applejack shows some of the basic rules of skepticism. 1. If something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. 2. Is there any method as to how this tonic is supposed to cure all illnesses to begin with? And 3. More often than not, the harsh truth of reality is better than the comforting lies of fantasy. This is why skeptics like myself frequently question pseudoscience and other supernatural claims, because the truth is often more beneficial and safer than accepting supernatural claims. Which was why it bugs me so much that it's never really expanded upon at all during the episode. And that's more or less all I really have to say. As a whole, this episode had good moral, good characterization moments, and decent pacing, but just never went anywhere beyond the basic level of telling us why the conflict is important, while showing us the absolute minimum. As such, I give Leap of Faith a straight C grade. Painfully average, but honestly more of a meh episode than anything else. Until the next review, this is the Nightmare Rider, Mage of Mind, riding out.